Money mistakes you need to avoid. So the ultimate guide. Personal stress is a common problem for many people today, and one of the biggest causes of stress is being worried about finances. Money has become so important in the world today that it often becomes the source of pressure, especially if you don't have financial knowledge to handle it. Most people make money mistakes that are left unchecked, but there are a few guidelines you should follow. There are things you can do to solve these problems and avoid falling into the same traps. Here are common money mistakes you need to avoid. 1. The use of hope as a financial strategy. Many people make a big mistake by using hope as a financial strategy. Many people believe that if they spend now, then when they have the cash later on in life, things will be easier and their financial problems will go away. This is a very real thing for many people, especially those entering the entrepreneurial world. As entrepreneurs, we have this vision of how our lives will look like as our business grows, and in many cases, many entrepreneurs spend money as if they already make the money. We see other entrepreneurs making lots of money, so we think to ourselves, I'll start a similar business and I'll make so much money and it'll all be fine. But this is a false sense of security that causes people to spend more than what their current budget can afford. Some people fall into the trap of buying luxury items to make themselves appear more successful before actually becoming successful, which can be a very dangerous trap. The reality is that unless you win the lottery or make some risky investments, that could make it big. It may be a slow road to financial success, but patience and consistency will eventually pay off. You should try not to spend more than you earn because you have no idea what the future holds. 2. Most people have a spending problem, not an income problem. We are all bombarded with luxurious photos of people living lavish lives, celebrities and social media influencers in particular. It's a phenomenon that's been growing rapidly as these visuals have become their own culture. People who feel like they fit in with this lifestyle often buy a lot of stuff that isn't necessary, like shoes, expensive clothes, cool cars and latest phones, even if their income doesn't reflect that kind of lifestyle. This millionaire lifestyle is extremely misleading and often comes with a lot of baggage. How does the average millionaire actually live? If you take a look at millionaire people, the most famous of them all are those who saved and invested their money. They were able to accumulate wealth because they didn't spend more than what they earned and rather said no to unnecessary costs. There are people who feel the need to keep up a specific image because they spend a lot of money. For these higher net worth individuals, for example, who make $200,000 a year, who feel the need to have fancier rentals, luxury cars like Ferraris or sports cars, and exotic travels, they might end up with a lower net worth than someone who makes $80,000 a year, but is able to live on $50,000 and can save and invest the rest. Some people tend to spend too much money regardless of their income. 3. Holding cash or keeping it in a bank. The US dollar wasn't the gold standard until 1971, meaning that US dollars back then had an actual gold value, backed by the gold reserves in the country. After 1971, the dollar became what is called fiat money. It is no longer backed by anything but the government issuing it. This means that the concept of inflation now exists, which makes the value of money decrease every year. This means that if you hold cash in the bank account, your money will actually lose value every year. That's why saving money is not the only step for financial wellness. It's also important to invest your money on places that have higher returns than inflation. If you invest your money, it can be worth more. Index funds are a no-brainer investment strategy that helps you build long-term wealth while also diversifying your risk. They introduce the compounded interest, reinvesting interest gain on your original principal, and so every dollar you invest is working harder for you. For example, if you have $100 out of 10% annual return, you will make $10 this year. Those $10 are added to the original $100, which means you now have $110 at a 10% return. This means that next year you will not make $10, you will make $11, and in the following years you will make $12.1, $13.2, and your return will grow every year. It might not seem like a lot, but that doesn't mean it's not powerful, and you'll end up with more money in the long term. Consider this question. If you had $1 million right now, or 1 cent that doubles every day for 30 days, what would you choose? Many might choose the $1 million right now without realizing that 1 cent, which doubles daily and grows to almost 5 million over 30 days. The funny thing is that you will see a lot of a difference until the last 10 days. At day 15, you have $163. By day 20, you have $5,000. By day 25, you have $167,000. By day 27, you've got over $600,000. Not even the million, but the next day, you have over $1 million. And by day 30, you have over $5 million. That is the long-term power of compounded interest. This won't seem super exciting at first, but this can really create a difference in your finances in the long run. Let's say you're able to save and invest $100 per week for 20 years, which is $4,000. At 8% a year, you would have $192,000 in the bank by the time you're 60 years old, but the compounded interest on those $192,000 will give you over $1.2 million. Starting to invest in passive forms of investing like index funds might be a good idea. Consult with your financial advisor before making financial decisions. A good book I recommend on this topic is Unshakable by Tony Robbins. 4. Investing before paying debts. This may sound like the opposite of what we mentioned earlier, but sometimes it actually makes sense to pay off high interest debt first. Then you can invest in other things. For example, if you have credit card debt with an interest rate of 20% and you only pay the minimum payment and put the rest of your money into an investment, it would give you an 8% annual return. You are losing money. You are investing, but your debts are compounding at a higher rate than the money you've invested. This is what compound interest works against you. Those credit card interest rates compound on a daily basis, not a yearly basis like most investments. So if you have high interest debt, it's wise to pay them off first before investing. 5. Having no plans for medium-term expenses. Most people talk a lot about planning for monthly expenses, but what about those expenses that you will have 3 or 4 months down the line? For example, most people get financially hurt after the holidays because they do not plan for these expenses a few months ahead, and instead they square it or dip into their savings. By planning ahead, you can avoid financial surprises after the holidays. Thinking about your expenses for 3 or 4 months ahead can help you better prepare to handle them when they arrive. 6. Not saving money for long term. If you are struggling to pay your bills, you may be feeling forced to come up with solutions to solve your problem. You may not be thinking long term and focus on the here and now instead of what is best for your future. When you're in a short-term mentality, you're not thinking about your long-term financial plan. A good idea is to start putting away a few months of living expenses in a savings account as a safety net for you to not feel stressed about money. This will allow you to start thinking about your financial plan in the long term, since you will no longer feel the pressure to play the short-term game. This will give you a much clearer view of your financial future, whether that means investing in your future now or ensuring retirement security. 7. Not starting a side hustle. There are some interesting statistics that shows that most workers in the US actually dislike their jobs. The thing is, people complain about how much they hate their jobs, but do nothing to fix it. With today's technology, it's easier than ever to start a side hustle. Eventually, you might be able to actually leave your job to do something that you actually enjoy. It's never too late to start something that looks like a side hustle. Try starting an online business. You can also start a YouTube channel to share your skills and interests with people. Try starting a business or provide a service in your local area. Follow your dreams and don't be afraid to start moving in a new direction. If you feel stuck in your current situation, it might just be time to do something about it. 8. Not investing. Fear is one of the biggest reasons that stops people from investing. It's hard to understand the financial world, but this doesn't have to keep you in the dark. Investing is a skill that is easy to build through ongoing efforts. Be sure to save and invest your money and gather knowledge that can develop your potential for a successful future. Many people want to invest passively or on automatic pilot. In this case, they might save money using index funds or ETFs, which isn't really too difficult. But some people are looking for more active investment opportunities and feel as though they could potentially make more of a return. Learning how to invest is a must. Investing is, in many ways, like learning how to ski. You may have seen someone do it before, and it seems easy when you're watching them, but then you jump in and start falling over and over again. Then we might just turn around and leave thinking that we were just wasting our time. So many people think investing is hard because it can be difficult and time-consuming to learn, but if you make the effort and learn with patience, you'll find that it's not as hard as it seems.